Good morning. I hope you're joining me in the morning because we're going to have a cup of coffee together if you don't mind. In fact, just this week I had a friend drop by my house and ask, how do you make coffee if you don't have a single pod coffee maker? They had grown so accustomed to it, they don't even know the old-fashioned way or anything other than the fancy ways at the coffee house. So just in case you find yourself in a scenario in the future where you need to know how to make, whether you call it cowboy coffee or campfire coffee or beautiful old cabin in the Ozarks of Missouri coffee, whatever it is, it's the old-fashioned way, and I think we all should know how to make it. So join us in the next few minutes and then let's enjoy a cup together. If you go back about 50 to 80 years or more, you would find that the common way that our grandparents made coffee was in something about like this, and it's known as a percolator coffee pot. You also see them used mostly in camping nowadays. I want you to know that before they even used it as a percolator though, or in case you get a hold of one that doesn't even have the percolator innards that go in that coffee pot, you can make it just with a can, a coffee can, a rusty can you find by the side of the road, a coffee pot, whatever you've got that's a vessel that can go over a fire, you're good to go. Now, you also can do this over a campfire, a fire in the fireplace, even a gas log fire in the fireplace. You can do it on the stovetop. Whatever you've got as a heat source, you've got options. I just want to make sure that's clear. But you'll only need 3 ingredients. You need the pot, you need some good clean water, preferably distilled or nice clean spring water would be best, not fluoridated right out of the tap. If you can get, the better water is going to make a difference. And then coffee. How easy is that? I will say some of us absolutely love our sweetener, so I have some wonderful maple sugar to go in it and some heavy cream, which I love and makes anything delicious. What you're going to do though is once you've got your vessel, you're literally going to just fill it up with water. This one holds about 10 cups if I get it right to the bottom of this pour spout. So I'm going to fill it up real quick and then I'll show you the next part of this. Again, this is not the percolator version of coffee because that even came later, and in an emergency situation, I want you to know how to make coffee even without that contraption that's inside. If you aren't familiar with this, the way that works is it's a little suspended filter that would set down in there. You would put the coffee inside this and then the little filter cap on top of it so that it keeps the coffee grounds in there. And you would boil it, and you would actually see in this glass lid that's so common on the percolator coffee pots, as it boils, you would see it bubble up inside of there, and you know that it's percolating. You'd let that happen for several minutes and then take it off and have your coffee. It's that simple. It filters it right for you. But we're not making it that way. I'm wanting you to just fill your vessel with water and then loosely, with your eyeballs only, you're going to measure your coffee. You're going to want about a tablespoon of coffee per cup of water. Now, like I said, I've put about 10 cups in here, so I'm going to put about 10 tablespoons of coffee in. It's going to feel like a lot to you, but I want you to just go ahead and do it. And I'll pour it in now so you can just see me eyeballing it myself. You're going to notice once you pour the coffee grounds in, the water is cold, the grounds are not going to go anywhere. They're just going to kind of lay on top. And that's what's happened here, and that's just fine. I did not wait till I heated the water up to put the grounds in. But now I'm just going to close that lid, and I'm going to put it over our heat source. And for today, just for fun, I'm going to suspend it over this fire so you can see that that's one option. And we're going to just suspend it and let it boil. Just in case you happen to have a coffee pot like mine, which was made of all things with a wooden handle. I did ahead of time, knowing I was going to be using a campfire to heat this, I soaked the handle in water first so that there wouldn't be the chance of it catching fire in the campfire. Now we want to give this a few minutes to boil, and that's really important. Not just barely to a boil like you're used to at home or just before it gets to a boiling point. That's often how I like mine at home. No, for this to be a smooth coffee without all that acid, you need it to come to as full of a boil as possible for at least 3 to 5 minutes, all right? We're going to give it that time. And I want to talk just for a minute about a survival type scenario that you might want to consider regarding coffee. So many of us have become accustomed to this in our morning routine that you're not sure what you would do if you didn't have it. So first of all, of course, I'm going to put in a plug for foraging because there are alternatives that you might want to learn about ahead of time, not in an emergency, not in the moment, but now ahead of time, experiment with how to, say, dry and roast dandelion root or chicory root to make coffee and just see how well you like it. Those are important things to know how to do so that you could have a coffee alternative. If you did decide to try to store coffee, obviously your better results are going to come from storing it in whole coffee bean form. And even better than that, I would encourage you store it in the green form of coffee beans and roast it right before you need it. And then grind it with one of those grinders that you've seen me use before, and I'll put a link below this video where you can get one of those for yourself. But a manual grinder that's going to grind that up for you, and then you'll be making this coffee that I've shown you right here. So what we're going to do is let this boil fully for 3 to 5 minutes, and a lot of the coffee grounds are going to start settling to the bottom, which is exactly what we want. But all of them will not settle to the bottom. And there's a secret now that I'll tell you and show you here in just a moment when we pull it off the heat. Once it's boiled 3 to 5 minutes, we're going to take it off the heat, let it rest for about 5 more minutes on its own. Just give it time to rest. Sitting there on the counter or the rock next to you for 5 minutes or so, and then you're going to put in a splash of cold water in the top. And believe me, it's just amazing how that is going to make all those last coffee grounds that have stayed floating in it or near the surface, they're going to all settle nicely to the bottom. And they won't do that unless you remember to put a splash of cold water in the top. Okay? That's our secret to making the perfect, most smooth coffee and having it be everything you want it to be in the moment. Then you won't even need a coffee filter of any kind, and you'll be ready to pour yourself the most wonderful cup of old-fashioned coffee. I do wish you were here to share this with me. This is a good cup of coffee. Absolutely smooth, and I really think that if you try this even once, you might surprise yourself and want to start making this the same way we did today every morning. It's absolutely simple, totally smooth, and I didn't even need a coffee filter to make it. I do want to give you a bonus tip, and that is no matter how you make your coffee, if by chance you get to the finish line and it does taste just a little bitter in your mouth, the tiniest pinch of salt added to it is going to take off that edge of bitterness. Okay, we're done for today, but I hope you've enjoyed our episode. I hope you make a coffee like this and enjoy it and share this episode with somebody that you love. And then I hope you come back and join us next week. Until I see you again, go out and find someone around you who looks forlorn, who looks weary, and be a blessing to them today. We'll see you next time. Bye for now. Hey, if you've stayed this long, I hope you'll stay for just a word from the Holy Bible. This is in Psalm 96. It's the last 3 verses, and it says this: "Let the heavens be glad, and let the earth rejoice. Let the sea and all that fills it. Let the field exult and everything in it. Then shall all the trees of the forest sing for joy before the Lord, for he comes. For he comes to judge the earth. He will judge the world in his righteousness and the peoples in his faithfulness. Now go spread the word.